election.
I call Charles Chabelle. It's a five-minute call. I'll ring the bell at 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a debate about accountability, and we have a government that seeks constantly to avoid that accountability to the taxpayer. And if we want an example, sir, in respect of the present matter, we need only to look at the timing that elapsed between the delivery of the NASA report to the Beehive and its making public. So that report was delivered to the Beehive at 10 a.m. this morning by the Honourable Daniel Naser himself. It took until 1:42 for the report to be publicly released. Now, sir, it's quite obvious why that happened. There were two motivations. First of all, the government wanted to put its spin on the report. It wanted to make sure that it had the agencies lined up as to the response and make sure that it had its tame bloggers lined up so that they knew what to say, they knew how to manipulate the media, or at least try to, so that the government side of the story would be the one that led the news. But there was another motivation, sir, and that was an attempt to avoid a debate in this place, to avoid a parliamentary debate on what was clearly an important current matter of ministerial responsibility and which ought to be, and now thank goodness is, being debated in this House. And the only reason it is being debated is that the Deputy Leader of the Labour Party was quick off his feet. He got a letter in as soon as the report was released. But the timing, 18 minutes before the beginning of question time, is simply cynical. It just shows how this government tries not only to spin its own lines all the time, but how it tries to avoid accountability, particularly to this place. So it was willing, sir, to let the media have its side of the story, to start the spin machines going, but to do everything it could to stop a debate happening in this Parliament, where it ought to be happening, where there ought to be the sort of accountability that we see so rarely, sir. Now, sir, there's another issue about accountability, and that's the accountability of our security services to the Prime Minister, and then the Prime Minister's accountability to this House and to the people for taking that job seriously. We've just heard from Winston Peters a very apt description, in my view, of how cavalier the Prime Minister is about these matters. The NASA report shows some disturbing things about GCSB's understanding of its mandate. The GCSB can only conduct surveillance in respect of foreign persons. An opening of the Act, a scan of the interpretation provisions, which I think is Section 2 of the Act, shows the reader who and who not may be surveilled by the GCSB, and only a foreign person can be surveilled. The definition of a foreign person is clear. It is a person, amongst other things, who does not hold permanent residence. And since the Immigration Act 2009 came into force in November 2010, that's included the holder of the sort of visa category that Mr. .com holds. So, sir, we've had this being the law for years and years, and our own security intelligence apparatus not being able to construe and apply that law appropriately, and a Prime Minister clearly just conducting nominal oversight, never asking, never seeking to assure himself, as he should, given that he's the only effective oversight of these services, whether or not they're acting within their mandate. That relaxed, confident approach that seemed to be so appealing initially, sir, just doesn't cut it when it comes to the hard work of government and protecting the interests of the citizen and of residents of New Zealand. Sir, finally, we've got the issue of accountability generally over this .com saga. It is a sorry saga. It's been characterised in the media as a Keystone Cops saga, and I think, unfortunately, those of us who followed the litigation in court would agree with that characterisation. Christopher Finlayson tried to draw a distinction between allowing agencies to conduct themselves with operational independence and some sort of overbearing Muldoonist way of holding them to account. Well, sir, that's a false distinction. All that the taxpayers of New Zealand are asking for is proper ministerial oversight of this matter before the taxpayer is left holding the baby. And, sir, given the events that are revealed by the NASA report and by the judgments of the court, we're in real danger of that, sir.
Sorry to interrupt, Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker.
I call Louise Upston.
Thank you.